Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Vicky 3, episode 32. We continue on with the United States that we started last time, and we had an incredible start to this campaign with everything going as well as could possibly go. We really lucked out on a wide number of things. We've already banned slavery and did so without experiencing a civil war, and then went into the next election cycle and didn't suddenly have the Southerners rise to power to try to reinstate slavery forcefully. So we've dodged that bullet and are now already moving in a progressive direction. Likewise, we already managed to annex Texas, and so a lot of the internal stuff that the United States begins the game with, these challenges that you have at the start, we've already overcome so much of that. We still have a lot of internal colonization to do, but we are going to very soon be able to start looking a little more externally at, like, say, Mexico, to claim some territory there, to maybe even Canada and start taking some territory there. But of course that then gets you into that whole Great Britain issue. But we can start looking a little more externally now towards growth, and not quite yet on the colonization. I don't want to be doing all too much at once, but this has been a regular thing for us here lately. Trying to avoid things going too horribly wrong on that colonization. I've gone ahead and turned up Colonial Affairs, the institution, to level 3. This is going to take us from 0.2 colonial growth to 0.3, so things are going to start going a bit faster. I've also taken education up to level 3. We have topped 50% now literacy, something I haven't done in any of the playthroughs, and that's still only number 26 worldwide. Okay, we're going to go ahead and annex the Indian Territory. We'll see how that one goes, but we're not gonna face any enemies for this. Ooh, District of Columbia. Okay, into my home territory. Okay, we want the expansion, so yes. And they back down. There you go. As expected. That ends the Indian removal. And we just had our next election with the Progressive Party still in charge. In fact, more in charge than before, with 75% of the votes. We already have the strongest version of the government that we could have right now. It's only a partial step, but it's still a step in the right direction. Legal guardianship to propertied women. It's not full women's suffrage, but again, it's a start. We have a 38% chance of success, so that's what we're going to try to get passed through here. And I don't think we have any reason to reform the government this time, or we could just get rid of the bourgeoisie. We'd have 100%. Wow. Okay, sure. We might be able to pass 2 things during this stretch, because there was a second. Hello, revolution. Legal guardianship, 67%. That will not succeed, but who would be, oh gosh, New York. Why would they not want this one? And Ohio, and Maryland. Okay, we're gonna have to watch closely here. If this gets anywhere near 100, we're gonna have to stop. Wow, that passed so fast. That passed ridiculously fast. I was still just watching the progression of the revolution. Okay, well, that law is done. Now we need to wait for the radicals to go away, though, before we can attempt to pass another one. The group has lost a lot of momentum. It's dropped to 31, so it looks like the revolution is going to go away without a problem. Slavery debate also close to being complete. Mexico has absolutely come in and done some colonization. They've been pretty aggressive We are going to have to take them on to recover that. Whaling industry just before timing out. We completed that one, so we get a bonus from that. Let's go and see what that bonus is. All right, and Oklahoma is the first one done as colonization has finished in Oklahoma. It can now be turned into a proper state. It's also already over its infrastructure. I have not gotten into railway yet. It looks like we're going to need to, as both New York and Oklahoma are a little bit over what is possible for them. So rail industry will be on its way here shortly. Realized I have a number of unincorporated states that needed addressing, so we've got quite a few of those now on the go. Now those new ones are taking a while. Hello. Okay, we have not rising. Easy enough though that that could actually be useful for colonization fast. Great Britain want an alliance with us. What a powerful partner to have. I love that idea. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and mobilize. Colonization of Texas is now complete as well, and that's because we've been cut off. And we have war with the Great Sioux Nation. They have almost no forces, so this is going to actually allow us to finish the colonization period very rapidly. So we're going to be annexing this. And see, two fronts. One, they don't even have covered, so we'll have that done in a moment. But then we have a significant advantage on the other front. And there we go, we've already taken that one, so now we have both forces here, which makes our advantage even stronger, and we will take it over quite quickly. And there it is, we have full occupation, and the war will be done here shortly. And there it is, full capitulation, and we have won the war, and now, boom, look at all that territory we have taken, and how little is left for us. In terms of the project, we've also started expanding into Canada as we are embarking into that territory as well. So colonization efforts have gone from 8 or 9 territories down to 5, and many of those are close to being done, or at least a couple of them are pretty close to being done. We have a little bit more in terms of colonization options. Oh, apparently it's 4, and that is Argentina, La Plata. So we're going to go ahead and do all 3 and get involved down here. And it looks like actually that opened up a 4th one. So we are now going to begin colonizing in here against Argentina and against Chile. Great Britain is going after the Columbia District. Is this why? They're trying to annex the Columbia District. Well, that's not good. That's not what we wanted at all. We wanted that for ourselves. You know they're going to back down on it. So have we been played the fool by Great Britain because of our interest in the Columbia District? Seems like that could be the case. Columbia District has backed down and is now part of Great Britain. Yeah, that has taken a turn in an unexpected direction. That's been kind of the first thing that has not gone our direction, and that has not gone particularly well in this playthrough. But Mexico sure doesn't like us, and assuming we have a pretty significant advantage, we do. But our military is something that we have not addressed yet, other than, you know, growing and expanding it. Skirmish infantry it is. Okay, we're going to turn that up. Mobile artillery. Turn that up. And that's going to make us quite a bit stronger. We also have 29 units, which is just a really bad number. So let's get that to 30. Slavery debate completed. It's now been 10 years, or however long it needed. Continuing to get after those journal entries. We've completed, you know, a couple more here recently, and we're just seeing more and more and more rapid progress. But like I said, I'm ready to turn the screw on Mexico. We are turning up the military, making it stronger and stronger, even though we only have the 29 units themselves. we have a power projection of 232. Meanwhile, Mexico has a power projection of 60. So I think it is time that we take on Mexico, especially when we ourselves actually don't have infamy right now. I mean, we have nothing. Taking the Indian territory brought us 0.4 infamy. So we're going to start with Texas, getting the rest of Texas in our favor. 5.2 infamy is what we're going to get for that one. I suspect that they are going to back down, that we will not have war on this one, especially with Great Britain as an ally. I'd very much like to expand it to take these couple of states as well, and then, you know, we can start to push into this other area. Likewise. Oops. Mexico without support. France is leaning the way of Mexico, so it is possible that we are going to have a full-on war here. When it comes to Mexico, they like us, though. I just don't think they like what we're trying to do. France does side with Mexico. This could make the war actually play out. Really could. They're going to have a lot of extra units, but I don't think they're going to really be a factor locally. But in the meantime, there's technically 3 fronts, so we need to get units on all 3 of the fronts. That means recruiting a 3rd general. And the Mexican-American War is happening with France on Mexico's side, with Great Britain on our side. How much will either of those two be involved? Us versus Mexico, we have a clear advantage, both in numerical strength, twice the number of units that they have, but also tech advantages that they just don't compete with. So just in case, I do think it's going to be in our best interest to expand our military. Currently, actively, I have 1 new unit on the way, but I do think we're going to potentially need, more. So we'll get Massachusetts, we'll get Illinois. Still kind of focused mostly on northern units, just in case. So as the war is set to begin, Mexico is committing everything to one front, and I only have a small number of units that are here. I have more that are on the way, I believe, or it's technically divided into 2 different. Yeah, it's technically divided into 2 different ones. We're going to go more defensive on that front and just try to hold them off. So we're going to switch. And Great Britain's on their way to that front. But meanwhile, we're going to rapidly advance. Our units aren't here yet either. I lost one of my generals. One of my generals has died right as we start the war. Terrible timing. Absolute terrible timing. Died December 23rd. And the war starts on December 24th. The day before the war. I can see that just behind me on the face cam covering it up. But Robert E. Lee, Joshua Childs. I don't like getting... this is dangerous, but yeah, okay. Actually, the Civil War is already done and dusted, right? So getting one Robert E. Lee on our side. That is where we want to put him. It's going to take 44 days for them to arrive. Alright, so it's 1-0 there. 9460 here, trailing, but we're ahead for now. And that's kind of that advantage, right? Oh, and this is happening as well. Guatemala and Great Britain. So we're seeing advancements on the southern front thanks to the US, and you can see how we are already starting to take some land. There's a lot of units on the way here, but so much of that are traveling from very far away. We will advance in the short term, and it's already giving us a bit of an advantage by holding the territory that we need to hold. Mexico has committed virtually everything to stopping the Yucatan southern front here near Guatemala. War score so far in our favor. Let's go ahead and look at the natural decay of things. Our base decay 0.25, very few radicals, very few losses. We're at 0.31 as a natural decay. Right now they are at 2.5, and that's because we hold the war goal already. So yes, we are gaining quite quickly. We don't need to be advancing for long. Advance for a bit. We still have not arrived. 44 days was the timing that it was going to take. We had the front covered. Oh my. I mean, without any resistance, we would be so far down into Mexico already trying to unite the front, but not yet. Not yet. Nebraska colonization complete. We have a tiny little pocket here, unfortunately, that we're having to finish off, but hopefully they'll very quickly move back into here afterward. And yes, they do. Okay, good. Good. The pocket is closed. And now we have arrived and begin advancing. Now, unfortunately, I also got a little distracted with what was going on with France, and I didn't get additional goals in place before the war. We could only make the goals where we already had the interest, which was, essentially our land that we're trying to recover. So I was not able to then add the Pacific Coast area. Okay, Mosquito Kingdom is out. Great Britain has pulled out of Guatemala for some reason. I suppose patrolling our coast and keeping an invasion force away is probably a good thing. And there we go. We now have large numbers of troops present. So Britain is advancing the front. They have more units on the way, so I suppose we're going to stick with advancing the front. Both units are on advance instead of defense. And with just a -6, we should hold that front quite comfortably and then continually advance here. This could take a while. This could take a while on the let's make peace, because conquering these come with big negatives, and yeah, we're looking at a -347. But the decay is definitely in our favor. I mean, right now they're losing 2.57 and we're losing 0.31 still. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. I am a little worried about why Britain totally pulled out of Guatemala, because they're going to lose that ground. Now, we might be outnumbered when it comes to units on this front, but we're not outstrengthed. And, as a result, more British units have arrived, and that's giving us actually a +5. So, looks like we are seeing fairly neutral battle zone here, but as we hold the war goal and it's not going anywhere, and this is, and then this one's not really going anywhere, or they gave up entirely and it's been occupied. British Guatemala has been occupied. Okay, that's not helpful. It's going to take a little while, but we are clearly going in the direction of winning this and getting those war goals. France is making this way harder than it needs to be. Gaining 5 points every 2 weeks is going to see them want a peace deal at some stage. Right now, dead, wounded, under 10,000 each. We are on the downside of that. We are taking more losses as we've been advancing. Our one and only admiral has died. Let's go ahead and take care of that. We'll start to settle in and speed things up. The economy is doing fine. The war is fine. It's pretty much stalled out on one front, and we are continually advancing on the other front. As a result, the war score is just generally going in our favor more and more and more with time. So time is on our side for this one. You can see that peace acceptance has already improved by 50 points from where it was. And the decay, I'm assuming, is staying quite similar. We're up to 0.32 is all. They are over 2.5. Despite being in the middle of a war, we've moved up from number 6 to number 5 in the great power rankings and look to continue, going in that direction. Mexico now has a negative score in their how they feel about the war, but it's still almost 200. So we've got a ways to go before we're going to succeed at this one, but certainly we're going that direction, and our advantage has actually gotten even better as time goes on here. We went from a slight negative to a slight positive to +9 now. Looks like there are more units on the way though. 29 more. I'm assuming they're coming from France. They are. 10 of those have already arrived, bringing our advantage back down a bit, but I think we'll be okay. They've arrived, and it's a -1. Progressive Party now at 87%, even more in a stronger position than before. 100% righteous government. Well, now my score is coming down as well, because even though we were at a 0, we lost a tiny amount of territory in Texas. One battle. In fact, it looks like New Mexico as well. So one battle went against us, and all of a sudden we are now seeing a similar drop in score to what they are seeing, but their exhaustion is kicking in much, much faster, and still, we're at 2.36, they're at 2.54. So even though our enthusiasm towards the war is fading quickly, theirs is fading a lot faster than ours. War support will see us. There we go. The Ripper Clapton Irons. Got that one done. We are starting to lose a little bit more on this front than before, as looks like some units have left us. Quite a few units have left us, but 20 more on the way. Trying to pass guaranteed liberties, and it passes on the first time as well. Guatemala has capitulated. We might be down to a +24, but they are dropping even lower. The peace acceptance is staying similar for now, as they have gold reserves and with those war goals, but I'm waiting to see what happens when they get to -100. Does that mean they cave and we win? I think that's going to be the case. They will probably capitulate at that point, and we will have achieved our war goals. So for that, we continue on as normal for now. Hello, France has capitulated. Why? They must have, the war exhaustion must have timed out for them. So with France out, this is going to go in our favor very quickly now. They're now at -73, so we're getting pretty close to capitulation and victory, total victory. Looks like we're going to have to deal with some bureaucracy here shortly, and actually now might be a good time to start addressing that. We have fallen into the negatives in terms of war support, but our rate of drop is down to -0.37, as they are not controlling the war goals, and they're at -93. So I think we are just about on the verge of getting victory. 96.5, 99.2. And there it is, capitulation. We have conquered Texas, Colorado, and New Mexico. That's complete. Now later on, we're obviously going to want another war with Mexico to take all of this as well. More and more, the U.S. is starting to look, like the U.S. I don't think we picked up a lot of infamy for that. I mean, we got a bit. We are reputable. Yeah, a 6. 6 is all. That's going to be gone in a year. Which means we can kind of go right into our next diplomatic play. Let's check it out. Things like establishing colonies. New Mexico, okay. Texas is fully incorporated. Oklahoma is being worked on. no, let's not do any of those right now. We need to get the bureaucracy taken care of. That's getting addressed, but not done. Switching to the standardized filing system will really help. It says we're going to lose 17,000, but I know that's not the case. Though paper is going to be something we need to turn up as well. Paper bleaching. It's going to use more dye. And we finished Central Archives. So there's another journal entry complete. And we now have a positive balance once again in bureaucracy. So short-term problem already dealt with. Construction's up to 5960. Still not fantastic, but it's getting better. Now, we passed one law already. I think we might be able to get away with passing two this time. So I think we can switch from racial segregation to multiculturalism. For the very first time, we had something not pass on the first go. They've all done it with 40 to 50% chance. This time, it jumps to 64% for a second go, and looking like it's going to happen pretty quickly and before we get to our next election cycle. But we have had just tremendous luck when it has come to getting the laws passed early on. Meanwhile, literacy is up to 54% now, which is still only 28th. Worldwide standard of living is not coming up, as we haven't spent too much time addressing that at the moment, but we are doing little things to try to address it. And it passes on the second attempt, so now we have multiculturalism. So the internal affairs of the U.S. continue to go in a very strong direction, and we have rapidly, not finished, but gotten through a lot of the internal colonization. It's almost done. We have had war with Mexico and expanded, taking 3 states from them. In the first go, it's going to take at least one more war. We're going to have to wait for our truce to expire in 4.5 years before we can have another go, but we most certainly will. We've gotten an alliance with Great Britain, but unfortunately they immediately turned around and took British Columbia for themselves. And so getting Idaho, Oregon, and Washington is going to be a little more difficult as a result. We'll have to see how things go in the longer term for that. But with very little infamy, next time we're going to be looking to expanding in some other direction. Meanwhile, we've also started to expand in, this particular direction, the southern tip of South America, both away from Chile and Argentina. We are colonizing rapidly. And they are colonizing rather slowly, so this is going to largely be our lands before too long. In terms of number of states for 1850, we are way ahead of the U.S., as a lot of these territories have already been incorporated. And going back to the first episode of this playthrough, we already bypassed the potential outbreak of war twice. Actually, now we have done so. We're up to number 5 in world powers. We are actively turning law enforcement up to the highest level, though, so this is going to come with a huge bureaucracy cost, but you can see we're already up over 1,000 to spare. Home affairs is something we're going to want to turn up as well, as it's going to produce good things going forward. In terms of the laws, shocked at the sort of gains we have made. We are already 15, 20 years beyond what the U.S. was able to do, and we're getting even closer. We have guaranteed liberties, we have the dedicated police force, we have, of course, banned slavery. Rights of women have taken one step in the right direction, though only one thus far. But we're gaining on a regular basis, and so this is really good. Early playthrough here for the U.S. in 1850. So that means we are 14 years in. We have a long ways to go yet, and painting the world blue is going to be quite possible. Of course, that first goal was to paint the United States blue, and we are 50% of the way through that goal already. British Columbia is going to be tricky, though. At some point, we're going to have to break off our alliance with Great Britain, or we let it stand and we go and dominate things together throughout this playthrough, and that might be the direction I take with that. But we'll see how long they want to remain friends. The moment they decide they don't want to be friends, though, British Columbia, Canada, we'll be going after those. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.